Ahoy there and welcome to the channel. So today is the brand new Biffy album, The Myth of the Happily Ever After. This one kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I knew it was coming out soon, but it was only a few days ago where I realised it was like out in a couple of days. So it got me really excited because I was very, very excited for this album because the two songs they released off it, both A Hunger in Your Haunt and Unknown Male 1, I really like and I've been listening to a lot. So I'm very, very excited for this album because I did absolutely love A Celebration of Endings. I thought it was one of their better albums in the past few years. So with this one being a sister album to it, I'm really looking forward to it. So without any further ado, this is The Myth of the Happily Ever After. Nice ambience.
I will ignore
Ooh.
all of the bodies piled up at my door. All my convictions, they soften the blow. I will ignore only the past can provide us a show. All my reactions come right from the source. This is how we fuck it from the start. This is how we fuck it from the start.
Okay, so a very cool intro track, very ambient, very kind of almost like space rocky to an extent, very like, you know, slow build. But then once the kind of outro comes in, it's all big and bombastic. Cool intro track. Yeah, good way to start the album. I always kind of like when bands kind of do almost like purposeful intro songs for an album that, like, you know, it's almost as if they wrote it to be the first song on the album. So yeah, enjoyed that one. So the next song on the album is A Hunger in Your Haunt. I've already listened to this one, absolutely love this one, but we're going to give it another listen because it's an absolute banger. So once again, absolutely fantastic track. Love that since the first time I listened to it. Have absolutely no complaints with that song. Absolutely love it. So we're going to move on, and the next track is called Denier. So let's give this a listen.
Look how she lays. This must be deja vu. Trade like her dress on the floor, a different shade of blue. Whoa, 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 you don't show, whoa, whoa. I need somebody to love. I need somebody to care for too. It's always been you. Say that you do. Say that you care for me.
Yes.
You go, whoa, whoa, your own rules. Somebody to care. It's always been you. It's always been you. And may all our denials come true.
Yeah, already absolutely love that track. Yeah, straight in, just punches you right in the face. Very kind of punky. Just, very aggressive, but then all of a sudden it kind of changes, it kind of simmers down, then goes back up. So the track is very full of like dynamics. It's a nice chorus, even adds extra layers. You can hear like extra guitars, I think there's like a synth and stuff, and then in the second verse there's extra harmonies, then there's kind of like the breakdown, the really kind of chirpy upbeat, but then goes into a bit more of an aggressive feel for a bit, then goes back into the kind of chirpy upbeatness, and then back into the aggressive feel, and then back into a heavy outro. So yeah, no complaints about that track, really. That was really, really good. That's definitely going to be that's already a standout track. But once again, we're only 3 songs in, so there's plenty more to go through. And so the next song on the album is called Separate Missions.
Well, you kept your word, but you lost every part of me. Yeah, you kept your cool, cause you couldn't stand the heat. You took it to the painless limit. You proved your point, but didn't finish. Listen to the sound of the promises broken. Silence comes around, could you read what you saw when it hurts? You won't diminish anymore. Can you see the shape of the words that we spoke? They came from the heart, but they stuck in my throat and it hurts. You'll never diminish anymore. Listen to the sound of the promises broken. Silence comes around, cause you read what you saw when it hurts. You won't diminish anymore.
Okay, so with that track, there's a lot to take in. Bit more groovier than all the previous songs off it. Very kind of like the start of it's very bass and drums heavy. But I had this, what I thought originally was just a synth, but I think it might be like a guitar going through some kind of synthesizer, because there's a lot of different bends and kind of squeals. So I think it might be more of a guitar than a synth, but that kind of goes through the whole track. Yeah, there's just a lot to take in with that one. That one's definitely going to take a few listens to really get behind. I was concentrating a lot during that track just to, really take it in. But what I could definitely say is towards the end, it definitely starts to get more layers and builds up a lot more, which was really, really nice, because I thought if it stayed at that kind of like steady pace for the whole track, it might feel a little flat, but it definitely, towards the end, definitely started ramping it up a lot, but still kind of kept it at that same feel without completely changing up. They just added extra like layer of guitars and more drums. So the next track on the album is going to be called Witch's Cup.
We're drinking from the witch's cup like no one in the world before. I know we all die, but just hope that there's one exception. The death of an original. You're never gonna fill my cup unless you say you want it, you want it. How am I meant to lift this up if I can even see it or feel it? 'Cause I just hope when we go that there's something deeper. The light in the sky, the rivers below. I want to see it all. individuals. I just hope that there's one exception. You're never gonna fill my cup unless you say you want it, want it. How am I meant to lift this up if I can't even see it or feel it? 'Cause I just hope when we go that there's something deeper. Where to begin? 'Cause I'm scared to believe it. Can you dare believe it? Believe it all. I just hope when we go that there's something deeper. We light in the sky, no rivers below. I won't deceive it all. Where to begin? 'Cause I'm scared to believe it all. Can you dare believe it all?
I didn't want that track to end. That was absolutely fantastic. I loved every single moment of that. From like the really stabby intro to like, you know, it breaking down with the kind of like, you know, very subtle drums and the organ to build back up to that kind of like, you know, real stabby part. And then for it to kind of open up with the chorus. And then you had like the trumpets coming in, you had the synths coming in, and it was just every few seconds there was just something happening. It was fantastic. It was just a really, really enjoyable track to listen to. Even the likes of Simon Neil going more towards the falsetto kind of his vocals. The higher range was really, really nice, really upbeat. Once again, another very dynamically heavy track. So once again, another kind of standout moment from this album already. And we're only, 4, 5, 6 songs in, so it's good so far. I'm very, very happy with this. So the next track on the album is called Holy Water. Now, technically, I have heard this song before. Back during lockdown, I think the first lockdown, Biffy were doing these, like every Friday, I think it was, they were doing a live stream from Simon Neil's house where he'd literally just play maybe 6, 7 acoustic tracks and do maybe like a little Q&A. And this was one song because I think it was just before or just after the release of Celebration of Endings, because he said this was one song that wasn't going to be on the album. It didn't make it to the album, and he played it there, and I quite enjoyed it at the time, but they actually ended up putting it on the new album. So I'm going to be very interested to see if it'll stay as an acoustic track or if it'll have a full kind of production behind it. So this is Holy Water.
Sinners in the hospital room, the saint is in the bed. I don't know where I'm from, all I know is I don't belong. How long till we drink the holy water? How long can we survive? I'm on my knees begging, please let it flow. This font is dry. I crushed another wish in my hand. I stomped another rose. I know that this font is dry. If we could talk about it, sing a song about it, throw our
Okay, so the first half of that song, it was exactly how I expected it to be, because when he played it at that live show, yeah, I could vaguely, it kind of started coming back to me, like the chorus, like the holy water thing. I thought it was really nice, like, building in extra instruments, because I thought maybe this might have been like the machines or medicine of the kind of album, the kind of like a kind of acoustic-y track that they usually have on most of their recent albums. And then obviously like more layers started coming in. Then the drums started coming in. And at one stage it was building to a point where I thought, they could actually maybe make this kind of heavy at the end, really bombastic. But I didn't think it was going to happen, especially when it kind of went into that breakdown. Because I kind of went from more of a, like, in terms of like tonally, it was a bit kind of like more upbeat. It was kind of like, nice and pretty. And then as soon as that kind of like breakdown came in, it kind of went a bit more darker, which I wasn't really expecting. But I just thought maybe like, it was going to build to some, like, not a heavy ending, but more like, lots of different instruments. I thought like maybe the acoustic would come back in. I was not expecting that outro whatsoever, in terms of what it ended up being. Because as I said, I was kind of expecting maybe a heavy outro, but not to that extent. Especially the last maybe like 30 seconds to a minute. It was just really like, just in your face and just aggressive. And even the end of it reminded me a lot of one of their songs from their third album, Infinity Land, Kids from Kibble and The Fist of Light. That kind of like like the really just fast paced kind of drums with the really heavy guitars. So yeah, that was half of it was what I was expecting. The last half, definitely not. This is Errors in the History of God.
We're trolls. In this universe, we're trolls. Happy just to torch shit. Born to scorch our homes. That's not why we came here. That's not what this is for. Explore. Even if I dream a little dream, even if I've fallen close to God, there's a mystery at large, and the story should be beautiful. We're just another species to explore in this symphony of God. Or that's why I'm so eager to explore. Even if I dream a little dream, even if I've fallen close to God, there's a mystery at large, and the story should be beautiful. We're just another species to explore. I'm ready to explore. I'm ready to explode. I've fallen close to God. There's a mystery at large, and the story should be beautiful. What errors in the history of God?
Ooh. So that's going to be another song that I'm going to have to wrap my head around a little bit. Because once again, it's another one of them songs of Biffy just going a bit mad with the L time signatures, especially towards the middle break down section. I was trying to follow along, trying to count along. I just couldn't. Biffy love to do that. You can obviously hear it, especially Living as a Problem is their biggest example of just them fucking around with time signatures. quite enjoyed that track. Has a weird kind of groove that you need to get into it. I was trying to fucking get that groove for most of it. And really, really enjoyable. I wasn't expecting like the kind of synth to come in after the first chorus. And then even at the very, very end, when I kind of had that little outro section, there was this other like really bouncy kind of synth that was just, I don't know, it suited really, really well. Because that's the thing, one thing I kind of was thinking about through the song was that synth that was coming into it. I was like, it obviously suits, and I think it's a nice layer to it. But I was like, I'm not sure if like it's overly necessary. But if the whole idea for the last synth part came from that part, I'm fully okay with it, because it was just a really enjoyable track overall. But once again, as I said, it's going to take my head a while to fully get wrapped around it. So the next track is called Haru Rurara? I could be absolutely butchering that. Actually, I know I'm butchering that. But I'm just going to listen to it and see what it's like. So this is what I tried to just pronounce.
With what? I guess you'll never know. 'Cause the highest was caught, but he refused to go down. I could hardly believe it when he didn't hit the ground. The fatigue started showing, and the doubt could be heard. But he had no fear, he was best of the worst. Realize we're in a new dimension. 'Cause the highest was caught, but he refused to go down. I could hardly believe it when he didn't hit the ground. The fatigue started showing, and the doubt could be heard. But he rode into eternity forever, the best of the worst. We rise. We will rise. We rise. We are the hope that you bleed. We rise. If you fall, we're the arms underneath. 'Cause the people we love are the people we need.
Okay. I was kind of hoping it'd keep that kind of groove throughout the track. I had a feeling, once again, one of the kind of things I've been noticing in this album, it's like building to big outros at the end of songs. So I was kind of hoping it'd maybe stay more as a groovy kind of track, because like I loved the guitar work in it. I thought it was really, really nice, and then even kind of like the rolling keys really, really added a nice layer to it. But no, really enjoyed that. Like, don't get me wrong, the kind of like when the kind of more of the full band comes in, I did really enjoy that part. But I was kind of like, I do love when kind of songs, especially kind of groovy songs, stay that way. They're quite nice, but at the same time, very enjoyable track. But once again, I think I'll get used to it over time. It's not as if I'm going to be hung up on it. But no, I quite enjoyed that. Still going to have to try and find out how to properly pronounce it, because I know for a fact I absolutely butchered that. So the next track is the first song that they released off the album, which is Unknown Male 1. I've already done a reaction to this, so if you want to see my full initial reaction to that, I'll leave it down the bottom. But we're going to listen to it again, because once again, just like with A Hunger in Your Haunt, it's an absolute banger.
I think if you call someone, the devil's gonna leave. Step out to the unknown, I'll catch you on the way down. Aim high, look out below. We're on our way together into the unknown. Innovation sound. for a day. Isn't it time that we made up our minds? This is insufferable. Together into the unknown. Step out to the unknown. I'll catch you on the way down.
Yeah, so once again, just like with Hunger in Your Heart, already heard the track, but it's an absolute banger. Absolutely love it. So, the next track off the album is going to be called Existed. So, let's go for this one.
I heard the whispers, I heard the sighs and moans. I wanted to upset some assholes, show them that I don't belong. You can't pick a side till the lines are drawn. You can't erase everything you've known. Don't be afraid to ask someone, 'cause this is how it starts. I'll get it wrong sometimes, doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I think it's time to realize we wanna get it right next time. You take all the lessons you learn and all the bridges you burn. We can be and be better now. We can be and be better now. Please pick a side or you don't belong. Your enemy's only a friend done wrong. You don't have to play, but somebody's gotta win. We all get it wrong sometimes, doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I think it's time to realize we wanna get it right next time. We all get it wrong sometimes, doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I think it's time to realize we wanna get it right next time. You take all the lessons you've learned and all the bridges you burn. We can be and be better now. We can be and be better now.
The best way I can kind of describe that song, it nearly sounds like somebody went and remixed a Biffy Clyro song, because I wasn't expecting that at all. Incredibly synth heavy. Starts off with that kind of like arpeggiated keys. Yeah, another song I'll have to wrap my head around, but in a completely different way than some of the previous tracks. Almost kind of sounds like it's like a futuristic cafe song. That probably is an awful description, but just in my head I have this very particular sound for what like a stereotypical like futuristic cafe where you're just like sitting down chilling and there's all this kind of music playing. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all, but I really like it. So we are now on to the last track, called Slurpy Slurpy Sleep Sleep, which reminds me of a very, very particular moment in Father Ted, if there's any Father Ted fans out here.
He's drunk an entire bottle of dreamy, sleepy, nighty, snoozy snooze.
So yeah, this is the last song on the album, and let's see what it's like. I have to post this. I wasn't expecting that at all. It sounds like Diary of Always harmonies on crack. Okay. Let's just see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Oh, now we're getting there.
Life in the world, brothers and sisters repent. We gotta fall, like a sparrow drop from its nest. We'll plummet or fly. Life is a sad song, we only hear once. Please give it all that you got before the rhythm stops. My knuckles burn white. The beats turn to ribbons on my chest. My stomach will burst. How do I get out of this mess? Pain comes and goes. Life is a sad song, we only hear once. Please give it all that you got before the rhythm stops. Before the rhythm stops, before it ends, please give love to everyone. Give love to everyone. Before you burn your words, please don't pretend, just love everyone. Just love everyone. Before the rhythm stops, before it ends, please give love to everyone. Give love to everyone. Before you burn your words, please don't pretend, just love everyone. Just love everyone. Don't you waste your life. Love everybody. Love everybody. Don't you waste your time. Love everybody. Love everybody.
That was wild. That was that was just. I'm kind of lost for words because I can remember initially listening to Celebration of Endings and Cop Surf coming on. And then obviously, like, you know, for like the first like 2.5 minutes, it's just like an in your face rock song. And then it breaks down and it has this kind of like, you know, like, you know it, like you've obviously heard it before where like there's this big long build and it's just like constant layers and layers and layers and like, you know, strings come in and more guitars and blah, 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 blah. And then it goes back into the outro for like 30 seconds. And I said to myself at the time, I was like, geez, that's probably one of their more like experimental like outro tracks. And they just absolutely shat on that and just made, I don't even know how to describe that song. I like it, but how much do I like it? I'm not 100% sure yet. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. You could obviously see by my reaction. And my neck's quite sore from that, which is always a good sign. But yeah, in terms of that song, in like a ranking system, God knows where that would end up. So much happened in that song, I could barely even remember what happened in that song. But yeah, I said like 3 times in this album, there's like 1 or 2 songs I have to like wrap my head around. This one I have to wrap my entire body around. It's mad. Just, for Biffy, it's crazy. Like, they have done some mad stuff and some very experimental stuff, but that was just off the wall to many extents. And yeah, I don't know. That's one for the Biffy history books anyway. So yeah, I'm still just absolutely gobsmacked by that song in just so many different ways. So yeah, that was my reaction to The Myths of Happily Ever After. I really enjoyed that. Overall, there was no real song that I didn't like. Everything I did like. Some tracks definitely stood out for me. Denier stood out for me. Witch's Cup stood out for me. Even Holy Water, which I was kind of, as I said, I had a preconception of, so I kind of thought I was expecting the song. But then obviously in the second half, that Holy Water is literally that meme of they had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie. And then even Existed, you know, very different for them, very more synth-driven, synth-heavy. And then Slurpy, Slurpy, Sleep, Sleep, which I'm still trying to just... Yeah. I can't even try and describe how I'm feeling after that song. So, yeah, but no, overall, probably, as a whole, probably Biffiest's heaviest album since Infinity Land, which was like... What, at this stage, well, I think Infinity Land was 2004, so like 17 years ago. Yeah, absolutely insane album, but very good and very enjoyable. And I can't wait to listen to it for a second time, especially Slurpy, Slurpy, Sleep, Sleep, because that is just still ringing in my head in so many different ways. If you want to do all that typical YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. If actually you want to comment down below what's your favourite song and why the hell is it Slurpy, Slurpy, Sleep, Sleep, I'd really enjoy that. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you soon.